music, Frank? I think it's coming from down the street.
I thought I heard something else.
Songs like that make you remember.
I thought I heard a whistle. My dad used to whistle assembly call.
How could you hear that?
There. Funny how it sounds stays with it.
It's Dad that stays with you.
Because he had enough gall to be divided in 3 parts. Mother said the day that the U.S. entered the First World War, Dad telegraphed President Wilson, "Arrive in Washington 7 p.m. If you don't know how to use me, I'll tell you how."
He showed them how to save time assembling machine guns.
But you couldn't tell where Dad's scientific management ended and his family life began. Even buttoning his vest bottom to top to save 4 seconds.
But he could walk into the Zeiss works in Germany, or the Pierce Aero plant in this country, and announce he'd speed up production 1/4, and then do it.
And what works in the factory works in the home. I guess there's so many of us it was scientific management or bedlam.
Even with a dozen, I don't think Dad was ever satisfied. I remember him looking us over, turning to Mother, then saying, "Only 12, but never mind, Lily. You did the best you could."
Do you remember when Mother came home from a trip? She asked Dad if everything had run smoothly. He told her, "Only had trouble with that one over there, but a good spanking brought him into line." Mother had to say, "That's not one of ours, dear. He belongs next door."
I remember this song. We used to sing it together as a family.
3-part harmony.
All of us rolling along in the Pierce Aero, singing love's old sweet song. Dad had leaned back against the seat and cocked his hat to the side, and Mother would snuggle up against him, as if she were cold. I remember her turning back to us in between songs and saying, "Right now is the happiest time in the world."
Maybe it was.
Maybe that's the time in a family, when you're all together, and nothing's bad happened to any one of you.
Right now is the happiest time in the world. Do you remember when she said it again?
Dad, with his bad heart, leaving for the World Management Conference in Europe. I remember, he was about to leave, and then he whistled assembly call. We all came running, and we were all together. It was the last time. Dad was trying to hug us all, and then Mother said it.
When I think of Dad, I don't think of that. I think of him color chalking our fingers and the keys on the typewriter, so that even the babies were learning the touch system. Or waiting to take movies of us doing the dishes so we could analyze them and eliminate waste motions.
Or painting diagrams on the wall of the solar system. The difference between meters and yards, tapping out messages in Morse code, telling those that understood where the candy was hidden.
Oh, and how he hated distractions. Do you remember those 2 noisy canaries?
One he named, "Shut up!" and the other, "You heard me!"
The way I remember Dad best, he'd come bounding up the front steps with his arms full, busting to try out some new idea. He'd come roaring into the living room, take out his stopwatch and whistle assembly call. That meant come running. Oh, here we go.
Hi, Dad.
Did you hear Dad whistle?
I wasn't sure.
Come on, late.
14 seconds.
That's pretty good.
Only 8 seconds off the record.
Where's your mother?
Upstairs with the babies.
I had so many children because I thought anything your mother and I teamed up on was certain to be a success. Now I'm not so sure. Let me see your fingernails.
What, Dad?
Fingernails. Not very clean. Need trimming. You've been biting them again. Jackie. Look at those nails. What do you think of them? You need a jackknife to keep those nails clean.
Gosh, Dad.
In fact, all the boys need jackknives. And I have little manicure sets for the girls, too. Here, here's yours.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
You got the flower?
Thank you. Thanks.
I'll inspect your nails again. Now, where can I put these?
What's in those boxes?
Is it something for us in those boxes?
These boxes?
Come on and tell us.
It's something special. Something interesting and educational, but a lot of fun too. I'll tell you about it tomorrow, or maybe the day after.
Please, Daddy.
Next week sometime.
Oh, just tell us now.
You're going to anyway.
You know you are.
Since you insist. These are 2 Victrolas and some records.
But we have a Victrola.
Downstairs. Well, these Victrolas are for the upstairs bathrooms. One for the boys and one for the girls.
The bathrooms?
I bet we'll be the only family in town with a Victrola in every bathroom.
That would not surprise me.
I've been thinking a lot about the time you waste in the bathroom. And at first, I thought it was unavoidable delay.
Here we go.
Then I thought of these Victrolas. You play them every morning while bathing, brushing teeth, washing faces.
Bye.
Does there have to be a Y for everything?
There doesn't have to be, but with you, there always is.
When you start talking about Victrolas, dance music isn't the first thing that comes to our minds.
I'll admit, it's not dance music.
We might start thinking about dances.
What kind of records?
Very interesting and educational. Language lessons, French and German. You don't have to listen to them consciously. Just play them and finally they'll make an impression.
Not every morning in the bathroom.
I spent $160 on this equipment.
They're not even unwrapped yet. Maybe get your money back, Dad.
I don't want my money back. And if these Victrolas aren't playing from the minute you get up to come down to breakfast, I'll know the reason why.
One reason, you can't change the records in the bathtub.
A person can be in and out of the tub in the time it takes a record to play. That's why you're taught motion study.
You didn't teach us anything about taking a bath.
I'll now demonstrate how to take a bath without using waste motions, without dabbing here and there and taking it out. Dan and Fred, go get that rug over there. We'll pretend it's a bathtub.
You mean right now?
I mean it once. Eddie's gained a few pounds. I'm in the bathtub.
Yes, Dad.
A little more hot water, Jackie. Ah, that's fine. Maybe a little too hot. Can you give me some cold? Never mind, just kidding. Get out. I have a cake of soap in my right hand. Now, watch carefully. This is one simple, continuous motion. From the top of the left shoulder, down the top of the left arm, back up the bottom of the left arm, and down the left side. Got it?
Yeah. Seems simple enough.
Shift zone. Same motion, other side.
Don't forget the back of your neck.
Hey, boss. And I'm not forgetting a thing.
Glad we home early. What's on the racket?
Fingernail inspection.
How about yours? Biting them again.
Let's see yours. I told you not to do the dishes by yourself.
The cook already has too much to do.
I'll handle that. It's all the same. Dishes, bathing. Continuing. Pay extra attention to the back of your neck and the bottom of your feet, and you'll be out of the tub before you can say bonjour. Now you know all about taking a bath. Put the rug back and take these Victrolas upstairs. Now, boss, I'll talk to them.
We'll both talk here.
Grab on.
Which goes to which bathroom?
We'll give the girls the French.
I much prefer French.
You both.
Is you both French or German?
I think it's Spanish. Dad has a system for everything.
Even conjugating French and German verbs in the bathtub.
If only he could come up with a system for interesting a couple of boys I know at school.
In what?
In me.
Well, some people have to think of some things for themselves. I did.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna have it out with him.
Have what out?
Somebody has to, and I'm the oldest.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna stop dressing like a freak. Aren't you tired of all the boys thinking you're a freak?
Yes, but
Dad says.
I don't care what he says.
He might hear you.
He's going to anyway. Cotton stockings? No wonder we never get asked anywhere. No boy would dare to be seen with us. The way it looks, I'll be the only girl to go through Montclair High without once being asked to a dance. Whenever the phone rings, just some girl.
a guy called yesterday. He just wanted my notes in the Second Punic War.
You'd think it would interest fellows, knowing things like the touch system or Morse code.
But it doesn't matter at all.
I had to do something. I bought some things, up-to-date things that others will wear. And they look absolutely snaky.
And he might walk in any minute.
Let him, I'm not a sneak.
What'd you get?
Short underthings and silk stockings.
Silk stockings?
But Dad
I
says.
read this package, and I'm gonna wear them, and I'm gonna be asked to dances, and a lot of boys are gonna want to dance with me. And I'll be a really popular girl.
And if Dad lets you wear them, he'll have to let me wear them too.
Me too.
And then we'll all be having dates. And going to dances.
And we can talk over our different boyfriends and compare notes. Golly.
Silk stockings.
And it's Dad.
Hide them quick.
More efficiency, that's all I hear.
If you just apply motion study.
Motion study is fine, as long as somebody else's motions you're studying.
You better get started with dinner, Mrs. Fitzgerald. My husband told you he'd take care of that.
Lincoln free the slaves! All but one. All but one.
We'll handle this the same way we would in a factory.
It isn't exactly the same.
Exactly. What works in the factory.
Yes, dear.
Boys, calm down.
12 seconds. I have a wonderful surprise. We're going to try a wonderful new idea.
What is
Is it fun? What kind of idea?
We're going to set up a family council. Your mother's not going to run this household anymore. I'm not going to run it either.
Then who?
You are.
Me?
All of us. Through a democratic family council. We'll have a family democracy. Everybody votes. You'll be deciding things for yourselves. You'll work out the questions that come up.
Well, I bet it is.
Pretty adequate idea.
Gosh, Dan. You bet we will. You know how I get factories to set up joint employer-employee boards to make assignments on the basis of personal aptitudes?
Of course, what do you think we are, idiots?
What?
No.
What kind of ideas or assignments, Dad?
Every sort of assignment. This and that, even work assignments.
There it is.
Now, you're going to love this, and it's a great step forward. You'll see. The Gilbreth Family Council is going into session right now. Arrange yourselves. Frank, get your mother a chair. We'll get right into business before us.
Just like in a factory.
I now call this meeting to order. That means quiet! You'll notice I'm installed here as your chairman. I assume there are no objections? The chair hearing no objections will...
Mr. Chairman,
Out of order.
since this is going to be a democratic council, I think the chairman should represent the common people.
You're very much out of order. The chair has the floor.
But you said you had no objections, and I want to object.
Out of order means out of order. Sit down. The first job of the council is to apportion the necessary work about the house. Does the chair hear any suggestions? Come, fellow members, how do you want to divide the work?
I don't think anyone wants to divide the work or be associated with it in any way, shape, or form.
In a democracy, everybody speaks. So start speaking. Dan, I recognize you. What do you think about it? I'm warning you. Speak.
I think Mrs. Fitzgerald and Tom should do the work. They get paid for it.
Sit down, you're no longer recognized. Bill, I recognize you.
I think Tom and Miss Fitzgerald have enough work to do. So I think we should hire more people to help with the work.
You're out of order too. Boss, now what?
We could hire more help, but that means saving in other areas. Cutting allowances, moving pictures, new clothes, and so forth.
Do I hear a motion to that effect? Who wants to stop moving pictures? Allowances?
Seriously, we all have to help out.
I move the boys cut grass and rake leaves.
And I move the girls dust, sweep, and do supper dishes.
And everyone makes their own bed,
Except the chairman.
except the chair.
I second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, there being no further business.
Mr. Chairman, I understand the purchase of a new rug is intended.
Yes, it is.
Can the budget afford such a rug?
I don't know. Seems to me as if they have a point, boss.
I plan to spend $100.
I move that no more than $95 be spent.
I second that motion too. All those in favor? Aye. I'm afraid you lose on that one, boss. Now, if there's no further business,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we spend the $5 that we just saved to buy a collie puppy.
hey, wait a minute.
Second motion.
Out of order, very much out of order.
A dog would be a pet. Everyone could pat him and I would be his master.
A dog was sleeping at the foot of my bed, and I would wash him when he was dirty.
A dog would be an accursed nuisance. He'd be our master. Nobody would wash his filthy, flea-bitten carcass. He'd positively sleep at the foot of my bed.
Let's vote.
Any pet that doesn't lay eggs is an extravagance. This meeting is adjourned, that's all. Council adjourned.
All those in favor?
I'm afraid you lose on that one, boss.
I think this council is a very good idea.
I think there are lots of things we should bring up.
I suppose next you want ponies.
Yeah.
Roadsters.
Yes.
Trips to Hawaii.
Yes!
Silk stockings.
Yes!
Oh.
Mr. Chairman,
What is it?
there's still further business I wish to place before the council. And it's important. I'll show you. I'm not hiding a thing. I want the entire family to see.
Shall I bring down the babies?
Be serious.
What is it?
To begin with, these underthings, these teddies, I'm going to wear them.
No, you will not. Put them back in the box. It embarrasses me to even look at them.
I bought them with my own money.
You'll take these right back to the store.
But there's only one other girl in school besides us who doesn't wear teddies.
And if you don't believe us, come to the school and see for yourself.
That won't be necessary.
I'm glad there's one other sensible girl in school besides you.
But she doesn't even wear teddies.
And if you don't believe us,
That still won't be necessary.
They're getting boy crazy, Dad.
That's all they talk about.
You should see them eyeing the boys in the hallway at school. Or in the lunchroom.
you little snakes, shame on you!
You might as well know it isn't just teddies. How about silk stockings?
No!
And didn't.
You might as well go bare-legged as wear these. They're like the last of the seven veils. You can see right through them.
Now you know.
Don't you know what might happen if you go around showing your legs through silk stockings?
What?
Never mind.
That's the way everybody dresses today.
Boys don't notice when everybody dresses that way.
Don't tell me about boys. I know all about what boys notice.
You don't want us to be wallflowers.
I'd rather raise wallflowers than clinging vines.
I'm going to wear these. I will not be a wallflower anymore.
And I'm going to buy silk stockings too.
Me too.
I will let you out of the house with them.
Don't you see, Dad? I've never been asked to the drugstore for a plain, ordinary vanilla soda.
If it's vanilla sodas you want.
Dad.
As for boys, they don't get serious about the kind of girl who wears silk stockings. They just run around with them.
If you ask me, it's a dead giveaway to be so suspicious. It denotes a misspent youth.
Nobody asked you. Now, Anne, when a man picks a wife, he wants someone he can respect.
They certainly respect me. I'm the most respected girl in the whole school. They respect me so much, they hardly look at me.
Get back down here. I don't want you wasting your time with a lot of boys. Look at the fun we can have right here at home with our project.
You don't understand. You don't understand at all. I wish your job was selling shoes and you had 1 or 2 children, and neither of them was me.
Well, we better start cleaning up the yard. Come on.
Let's go help in the kitchen.
Okay.
I'll help tidy up the living room.
Boss, what is it I don't understand?
High school girls.
Remember when we decided to have a dozen children? Remember what I suggested?
You suggested we had all boys.
Now, I'm not blaming you, boss. But you should have followed my suggestion. High school girls, by jingo, there's only one way to handle this.
Just like in a factory.
Hey, Ern,
What, Frank?
why doesn't Dad want you wearing silk stockings and having dates?
I don't know why.
I mean, he's got a reason. He wouldn't do it without a reason.
No, he wouldn't.
But what could that reason be? Do you remember one time? I think it was after Dan bought that $5 doll. About 2 weeks after Ann first showed Dad the silk stockings.
I remember the battle over those stockings.
But a little while after that, Dad and Dr. Burton had a long conference upstairs. When they came down together, Dad was joking.
We didn't think anything of it. We didn't even have a suspicion.
That's the time.
Gosh, Frank, they were so cheerful. When a man with a dozen children has told his heart's on the blink, what's he gonna do?
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, maybe that's the reason he didn't want girls thinking about boys and movies and sodas all the time.
It wouldn't contribute to skipping grades at school.
Don't you see? The further we were along at school, the more we knew about everything. Easier it would be later on.
Of course.
We'd be able to take care of ourselves better. There'd be less of a load on Mother.
You can't blame him for not wanting us to waste time on dates and things like that. But we didn't know.
And he didn't know either. I mean, like Mother said, about high school girls.
I guess boys and things like that, Dad must have found it a shocking waste of time.
The way I remember, the first boy to call came on the same night Dad had that big session with Doc Burton.
I think Dad and the doctor went upstairs after dinner that night.
That's right. You and I were over there playing checkers when they came down.
And I was wishing the phone would ring, and it'd be some fullback who was dying to meet me. I didn't pay much attention to the checkers, or even Dad.
Somehow you should realize right then, what the doctor was saying to Dad. You should understand it at the time.
But at the time, they seemed so casual. It passed like any normal conversation, like any ordinary conversation might pass.
You were sitting there, I was sitting here.
And we hardly noticed. I must have been daydreaming.
Hey, your move.
What?
Your move.
Oh,
Sure about that?
of course I'm sure.
Okay.
I suppose you feel proud of yourself.
Another game?
Quacks! You're all quacks!
I've heard it so much. There must be something to it.
The Gilbreth are rugged pioneers, though. No time for nonsense like getting sick.
What about the Gilbreth measles epidemic last spring?
Even the pioneers got the measles.
It's possible.
You old fake. Now you're trying to tell me I shouldn't take out any 3-year magazine subscriptions.
Absolute waste of money.
How about a 1-year subscription?
I'd still save my money if I were you. I'd ask about the, shorter subscription. You know, maybe about, 6 months.
It's a mighty short-term subscription.
Mr. Gilbreth, a man with your responsibilities does not want to waste their money.
Mr. Bones! I don't believe a word you say. I feel too good. Besides, I'm too busy.
Fine, then I don't have to worry about it. See you next week.
You bet you will.
Heh.
What magazine do you subscribe for, Dad?
Never you mind. What's this?
We already finished our homework.
That's fine, but if you always do more, eventually you skip a grade.
I just skipped a grade last year.
Start thinking about next year. I don't want you held back by a school system geared for the children of average parents. That's one of the topics for discussion tonight. Silk stockings?
I've been wearing them at school, and I guess you might as well know it.
Next thing I know, you'll be wanting to paint yourself.
Everybody wears makeup nowadays.
They don't call it painting anymore.
I don't care what they call it. I'll not have any painted women in this house.
What you want is a house full of old maids.
What I want is for you to get along with things that matter. By yourself, without needing me to hound you all the time.
And the topic for tonight's discussion is skipping grades at school.
Yes. By jingo, a little better organization around here too.
We voted all topics should be of general interest.
Better organization is always of general interest.
Dad's so smart. Why can't he understand?
You poor thing.
Your move. Sure.
Of course.
Another game.
No.
Get him out of here!
All the dumb dogs. What do you expect for $5?
Oh my god.
Up on Dad's bed again.
He's always up on Dad's bed. He's crazy about Dad.
The basement window, across the coal bin, up the back stairs. Dad's bed.
He was right about the dog. Now he'll think he's right about everything.
Clothes, makeup, and everything.
They're still hoping the boys will go mad over them.
Over them?
What's so ridiculous about that?
Nothing.
Only what? If you've anything to say.
I just wouldn't think it had that sort of effect on anybody.
Yeah, and we've known you all our lives. Of course, some boy didn't know you so well.
Thanks for the compliment.
I think you're very good swimmers. And at tennis.
We don't care for your opinion.
Other boys don't think that way about us.
Do they?
I've never even heard the subject mentioned.
Look, if you want an honest, frank answer,
We don't.
all those silk stockings, what good do they do?
Someday you're going to be surprised. Someday that phone's gonna ring, and it'll be...
Somebody for Dad. Hello? What? You want to speak with who? You're absolutely sure you haven't gotten mixed up with somebody else.
Who's it for?
You don't mean Ann Gilbreth, the one with freckles? Oh boy, please don't hang up. Are you still there? Thank goodness, please do not hang up.
What are you saying?
Hey Ann, imagine a boy calling for you. Isn't that wonderful? Hurry before he hangs up.
Give me that phone.
Imagine, for you.
Snake in the grass. Hello? Yes, this is Ann Gilbreth. Who? It's nice of you to call.
Oh, go ahead. Talk to him.
Say something. I can't. I'll take care of them. I'll fracture your skull! But I mean it!
No, nothing's the matter. Yes, this is a very good time to call, yes. Where have I been all your life? Well, mostly I've been right here.
Oh, kid him along.
Of course I'd be glad to have a soda with you. You mean now? At night?
What about Dad?
You're driving right over?
And you don't have permission.
That'll be fine. Just give a little toot on your horn when you get here. Be seeing you.
Well, who is it?
Joe Scales.
Golly, the cheerleader? And a car, too.
He's a little undersized.
So what if he is? You can't expect to start with the captain of the football team. But maybe if some people begin taking us out, then maybe other people will. Maybe.
He's got the best car at school. You should hear it backfire.
What do you tell Dad?
Sooner or later, he's got to realize.
Don't you think it's better if he realizes just a little at a time?
I don't know when I'll give him another chance. I bet there will be a lot of people down at the drugstore. I'll bet there will be almost everyone.
If Dad lets you go,
He might have a project.
Don't you see this as a start? Boys notice girls that other boys notice. I mean, pretty soon you begin getting popular and then you meet somebody you really want to meet.
and if Dad lets you go on dates, he can't be so strict with us.
No, that's why it's so important. It's the start of everything, that's all.
Mother, your father will be down in a minute. He has some things for the family council to take up.
Mother, there was a phone call. A boy called me. That's nice. I think he's a very well brought up boy.
He's the cheerleader.
He asked me to go have a soda with him down at the drugstore.
When?
Tonight. He said he'd come right over.
He's got his own car, too.
I don't think tonight's a very good night. Maybe some other time.
If I broke the first date I ever had, there won't be any other night.
Please, Mother.
Say something to Dad.
I wish some other time.
But when? When?
I guess you have to start sometime, though.
I already told him yes.
Maybe we can bring it up at the end of the family council, if you're especially cooperative. This boy better be the quiet and reassuring type.
Oh, he is. He's small, too. Only that high.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Now we see the small interaction.
Bill, put down the umbrella.
Again? I won't.
Frank, get a chair for your mother.
Bill, you know the drill.
Trying to explain things to the dog. We built him a bed under the front porch that's sure to keep him there.
By jingo, way better. I now call this family meeting to order. If there are any topics of general interest you'd like to discuss, hearing none,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go on the topic of roller skates.
not of general interest.
I'm interested.
Sit down.
The trouble is, you always decide what's of general interest. None of us get a chance. That's not very democratic.
Nonsense. I always favor a family discussion of general interest before going into the business of the meeting. And I can't recall ever being unreasonable as to subject matter.
I might sometimes see a boy who's in a history class.
He's the cheerleader.
Not of general interest.
He is. We're all very interested.
Not me. I'm bored stiff. Now, if Ann had said she might sometimes see a two-headed boy, that would be of general interest.
I'd be very interested in the two-headed boy.
Now, I have a really first-rate topic. I'd like to teach you a new method of multiplication that's bound to make a wonderful impression on your teachers. Remember, a lot of little things like this add up to skipping grades in school.
Is that of general interest, Dad?
That, child, is of the utmost general interest. Before we get into mathematics, I have an announcement I'd like to make. I've been invited to speak at the World Management Conference in London, and despite the opposition of a few warriors, I intend to go. But, by jingo, I'm going to leave this family in smooth running condition without a huge load on his mother.
They're not such a load.
We're going to organize a purchasing committee to buy food, clothes, and equipment. Then, I want you to elect a utilities officer to levy 5-cent fines on wages of water and electricity. A projects committee will oversee that all work is completed on schedule. Your mother has enough to do as it is.
We'll all help, of course, Dad. And since that's settled, I move we adjourn.
We need more system. I'm installing work charts in every bathroom, and you're to initial them every day. Bathing, brushing teeth, doing homework, and so forth. Then your mother just has to glance at the charts.
I think we're all in favor, and I think we ought to adjourn.
It's getting late.
It really is.
I'd like to see our family have the most efficient household in the whole world. That would leave more time for your schoolwork. The most important thing is your studies, your education.
Couldn't we go into that tomorrow? We're all doing fine in our studies.
I want you doing better, skipping grades now and then. I don't want anything to interfere with your schoolwork.
Mr. Chairman, please, I move we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Your main job is getting ahead in school as fast as you can. And anything that detracts from that, what I was trying to say, your schoolwork. Ed! Hey, Ed! Are you in any way responsible for that noise?
I'm responsible.
Great Caesar's ghost! What's that written on the car? Hopping sardine, here's your tin.
There's more written on the other side.
Yes, Anne, if they could go get a soda. I think that might be all right.
I've already done my homework.
What about the mathematics project?
Couldn't I get it from Ernestine later? I promise I'll...
Tell him to stop that.
Joe, park the car and come in.
Okay.
Dad, please.
Frank, I won't have you embarrass Anne.
What do you want me to do? Go sit in the kitchen?
We're going to have a talk before you say anything to him. He might be a very nice boy.
He's the cheerleader.
That settles it.
Frank, keep an open mind.
Anyone would think boys were more important than mathematics projects.
What now?
Hey, the gang's all here. What's the matter? Didn't you hear me on?
We heard you.
Some horn, eh?
My brothers and sisters.
The babies are upstairs.
You're the first cheerleader we've seen up close.
Gee.
Well, how do you like my tie? It's a William Tell tie. You hold the bow. It's the apple. Hold the bow, watch it. It's the apple. William Tell tie. Hey, you better shove off.
I think my dad wants to meet you first.
I think maybe he will.
We better shove off. The gang's all down there.
Hey, do you have time to show us how to do one of them cheers?
Yes.
No.
Show us a cheer.
I'd like to see that.
Sure thing.
Not now, are you crazy?
Just one cheer and then we'll get going. Okay? Okay.
Please don't.
What are you worried about? Just come on and follow me. Come on. I want to hear a hoorah, ray, and a tiger from Montclair High. A hoorah, ray, and a tiger. I want to hear you all it out. Ray.
Remember now.
Dad, I'd like you to meet Mr. Joe Scales.
How do you do, young man?
Hop up.
Remember, Frank.
Joe asked me to go have a soda with him down at the drugstore. He says the whole gang's down there.
What about the project?
I'd like to go, Dad.
I'm always reasonable. A soda shouldn't take long.
You mean I can go?
Of course you can, honey.
Oh, Dad!
Now let's see. I can take time out for 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Take time for what?
Chaperone you, of course.
A chaperone. For me.
You didn't think I was letting her out of the house alone with you.
What's wrong with me?
It'd take more than 15 minutes to answer that one.
I'm not walking into any drugstore in front of everybody, followed by your girl's father.
What's wrong with me?
Young man, that's what they call rhetorical questions.
I don't care what it is. I'm not gonna walk into any drugstore with a chaperone.
Please, Joe.
Don't you trust your own flesh and blood?
Of course he does.
Of course I trust Anna. I trust all my children. Cheerleaders don't trust.
If that's the way you feel, I'm leaving. I'll find someone else.
A judicious decision.
Just a minute, Joe.
I must have been crazy.
Some date, eh?
Wait till they hear what happens when you date a Gilbreth.
You're not going to tell everyone.
It isn't Anne's fault.
Wait till they hear you'll get no more dates like Ma.
Oh, I'm a kind of love.
Can't see what harm would have been done if I had gone for a soda. They'll tell them all. I'm so embarrassed.
Cheerleaders. Absolute waste of time. Now let's just do a little on the mathematics part. Then I'll take you all to the movies, and we'll have lots of popcorn and candy, and have a wonderful time.
Nobody in this family understands me. I wish I were dead.
What a thing to wish. That's enough wasted time. Let's get into the mathematics. First example is 46 times 46. The first thing to do is find out how much more 46 is than 25.
There we go.
Then you find out how much less 46 is than 50. The answer? 4. You square the 4 and you get 16.
They must have shut the window.
Do you remember when the neighborhood patrols used to play that?
And clap your hands, here comes Charlie. Stumbling, me and the boyfriend.
You gotta see Mama every night or you can't see Mama at all.
Those songs remind me of a cheerleader back at Montclair High. I can't recollect his name.
Joe Scales. Some chic, eh?
Flaming Youth had really caught fire. Except at our house.
Well, at our house there was Dad.
And he acted as though our entire generation was riding straight for the devil.
In a stripped-down Model T suitably inscribed with "Chicken, here's your roost, 4 wheels, no brakes, the tin you'll love to touch."
Those old jalopies were just as good as our own car.
Do you remember riding with Dad in the Pierce Arrow? Someone would call, "Hey, I see 12 kids." Dad would bellow back, "Oh, these aren't much. You ought to see the ones I left at home." Or one time somebody said, "Yeah, what are you doing in that old ark?" Dad yelled back, "Oh, I'm just out collecting animals like the good Lord told me. Now all I need is a jackass. Hop in."
But the most embarrassing part was when we'd come to a toll bridge and Dad would play his favorite game. He'd guess the nationality of the collector, then, "Hey, do my Irishmen come cheaper by the dozen?"
Irishman, is it? Sure, and if it wasn't meant for a family like that to pay toll.
Sometimes it was a Dutch collector.
Ah, what a fine lot to have the Dutchman. Drives around the house.
Even out on the road, Dad couldn't stop teaching. I mean, if we passed a factory, he'd teach us how to use a plumb line to get the chimney straight.
He was in a hurry for us. All the systems, study projects, committees. Reeve Terrible's head of purchasing committee.
The purchasing committee got wholesale rates, from underwear to baseballs. And look at the savings on canned food when we ordered direct by truckload.
Yeah, how about the 96 jars of peanut butter?
Everybody likes lots of peanut butter.
Not me. Not anymore.
The committees were a wonderful idea. They helped eliminate waste motions and made things easier for Mother.
You didn't talk that way back then. Back then, all you girls thought about were boys and dates.
Because no boy dared call at her house. That little cheerleader did everything but nail a quarantine sign to our door.
I remember Anne burning up. "I'm living through what can only be described as hell on earth."
And Dad picked that particular time to step up the efficiency program.
Well, he didn't exactly pick that time.
I didn't mean...
Sure, none of us knew. A lot of times it just seemed like Dad was extra impatient.
Especially when that lady psychologist came over for those examinations.
We didn't know about those exams. We didn't know it meant Anne could graduate ahead of her class.
Dad's master plan. He was so anxious for Anne to get done with school right then, so she could help Mother.
Didn't Anne go to a movie with some boy that afternoon?
She didn't know the exams meant anything. She didn't know Dad had been talking to the people at school about her graduating early.
But she missed dinner completely, most of the tests. Dad was wild.
He kept checking his watch every 3 minutes. If that psychology teacher wasn't there, he'd be roaring like a lion.
You and I finished those exams early that night. So did some of the others. They must have gone upstairs.
Right. That music. That's not coming from down the street. That's coming from upstairs. That's one of our Victrolas.
The girls' bathroom.
The boys.
Of all the dumb...
Dad's mad enough as it is.
Boiling. We better switch them on.
Before Dad.
Quiet! Shut up that noise! I said quiet! You too! Who's playing those?
I don't know.
Anne didn't come in yet?
The boys' bathroom.
The girls.
No use trying to get around me now. Turn them off and come down here. I said turn them off! That psychology thinker would think I told them to turn on those records. She'll think I'm trying to impress her.
Well, aren't you?
How'd you do on your trick examination?
Practically perfect.
Me too.
It didn't take you long to finish. You and whoever turned on those records.
Guten Abend!
Bonsoir, mon père.
If you spent half as much time memorizing, improving your minds as you did memorizing those stupid songs, you could recite the Quran forwards and backwards.
Ich bin durstig. Das Milch ist gut. Das Wasser ist kalt. Das ich bin Apfel habe.
Ferré Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous.
It's my name, my soul, that's what it is. It's my name, because so Ferrari bin.
Ding dong bell.
No, let's move up that control and have more jazz. Da-da, dee, da-da. Let's have that one about I'll love my sweetie forever and a day.
You made it up. It's not a record.
Maybe not, but you have to admit that's well above average. Da-da, dee, da. Da-da.
We bought those records with our own money, and Herm and me. Who wants to recite the Quran backwards?
Look at the report cards you brought home this afternoon.
What's so wrong with a B average?
Last year you got straight A's.
Last year, I skipped a grade. It takes a while to catch up.
Just the same, all these afternoons in the drugstore with the boys, drinking sodas and listening to jazz. I told you it wouldn't help with your marks, and this proves I was right.
We hardly spend any time with boys.
Ha!
We don't have what some people would call a normal social life. Some people go on dates on school nights.
It's practically night now, and it's school night. And where's your sister?
We told you 10 times.
She went to a movie with a boy.
All afternoon? She missed dinner. She's missing the examination. She knows she should be home.
Bill went with her.
She remembered your rule, a brother on every date.
But she's making him miss the examination too. Why didn't she just bring the boy over to the house instead of going off like that?
Why?
Yes, why?
Because of the way you scared Joe Scales. He's got the rest of the boys afraid to come here. Even that friend of mine.
You mean that one with the motorcycle? The one that keeps buzzing the house with that noise contraption? At all hours?
He's working up his nerve to come in.
What's he so afraid of?
You!
Me? Why should any boy be afraid of me?
I think it's Matt.
Go out and tell him your father's leaving for the World Management Conference in London soon. Tell him he won't have to work on his marriage much longer.
You know, she already told him.
He's stopping. Maybe he'll come in. No, here he goes.
Joe Scales' car's louder.
I hear motorcycle Mac.
He's still working on his nerve.
Is Ann back yet?
No. For all I know, she eloped.
She went to a movie.
Mrs. Gilbreth, I'm not getting any help in the kitchen.
About his examinations, things are upset.
Hop to it.
Martin Erd, better see to the babies.
I'm not supposed to do the dishes? What about Dan and Jackie and Lily and two?
They're finishing the exam.
No wonder they're taking so long.
I thought they were a scream at dinner.
Who?
With the woman examiner.
Miss Brill.
She came late and was trying to catch up. Jackie tried to be so helpful. She told her, no need to gobble up your grapefruit like a pig. If we finish ahead of you, we'll wait till you're through.
They made a bad impression.
And Lillian.
She thinks house rules apply to guests.
Sorry, but I'm afraid I can't pass your dessert till you finish your latter names.
And it didn't help when Jackie asked if what Mrs. Brill was saying was of general interest.
As a matter of fact, I don't think that they care for her.
And I don't even. I don't think she's being fair.
Of all the fine teachers here, we had to get that one.
She's asking all sorts of slanted questions, and I don't think she's marking the papers fairly.
Yes, and she's blocking my most important point.
Plan? I thought this was a research project for the school.
That too.
Does this have something to do with all your trips to the school?
With Anne's mark, it's ridiculous for her to have to mark time with the rest of her class. There's no reason why she shouldn't be able to graduate by the end of the semester.
It's going awfully fast. She just skipped a grade last year.
But with Anne graduated, she won't have as much schoolwork. And with me away, you could use the extra help.
But Anne doesn't know that this test has any bearing on when she graduates.
I worked out an agreement with the superintendent. He's writing a research paper on the effects of home education, and naturally, he came to the right source for that.
Naturally.
I told him he can have his Miss Brill snoop around all she wants, but in return, he's got to do something for me.
He's going to give Anne her diploma?
If her mark's good enough, and by jingo, it better be. Where is that girl?
I presume you're talking about your daughter, Anne.
There's nothing the matter with any of our children.
You'll find that out when you grade her paper.
And when will that be?
Don't worry, she'll be back. She's the youngest girl in her class and always gets A's.
Where did she go?
She went to a movie.
These examinations are a little more important. They're for the superintendent.
I know who they're for, and they're important to me too.
The superintendent directed me to give these tests. Now, I don't approve of anyone graduating ahead of her class, and if she doesn't show up, that's perfectly all right with me.
She'll be back any minute.
And the others? What have you found out about them? The results are inconclusive.
What's so inconclusive about them? Did you ever grade a better set of papers?
Well, I have to interpret the results.
Interpret? Here's something to interpret.
What's that?
You'll see.
What now? What's going on?
We're just so
10 seconds.
Wow.
Doesn't count. Your older sister and Frank. Frank, what's 46 times 46?
2116.
Dan, what's 19 times 17?
323.
Martha, what's 52 times 52?
2704.
Good girl.
You've coached them.
I taught them. Do you know the capital of Columbia? Do you know the population of Des Moines according to the last census? Of course you do. But so does Dan here. So does Lily. So does baby Jane upstairs. I'd bring her down, but it's time for her bottle.
Now you're being ridiculous.
What's 16 times 16?
Well, I really...
256.
What's 17 times 17?
289.
Good girl. Boss, we better keep that one.
Are there any questions you'd like to ask?
To help you interpret?
I have all I need on these proper examinations.
No questions? That's all. Dismissed. Get along with things.
Frank, tell Miss Fitzgerald to keep some dinner warm.
Sure.
studies, but you shouldn't try to do so much with them.
Why not?
Well, if everyone went in for a regular education like that, there'd be no system left. There'd just be chaos.
Perhaps you better mark the papers and see how much chaos you find.
You can use the dining room table.
Thank you. And if you don't mind, I'll look over your shoulder. I do mind. Miss Brill.
The old goat?
You better go up and lay down for a little while. Dr. Burton says that you should lay down for a while after dinner.
He's an old goat too.
A little rest won't hurt you.
Get that stupid dog out of here!
Won't you ever learn?
Why always Dad's bed? Why never my bed? Or Dan's bed, or Frank's bed, or Ann's bed, or Martha's bed? Why always Dad's bed?
He just attracts dogs.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Come on in, Larry. Just my house.
I'm starved.
Well, go eat.
Don't worry, and don't think I didn't notice.
Notice what?
Remember that silly part in the movie? That part all about love. I saw you two holding hands.
That's a lie.
If anything like that happens, maybe for 10 seconds, it was just because of the movie and entirely involuntary.
It was?
It was just that kind of movie.
Oh.
See,
Having you tag along is simply unendurable.
I suppose you think it's durable for me. I'm starving to death.
Kid brothers.
In case you didn't already know, I have 6 of them. 6 berserk kid brothers.
I already know.
Thank heaven.
Say, I bet you're getting hungry.
Hungry?
I made you miss dinner.
I miss dinner all the time. I hate dinner. In fact, if there's one thing on this earth I don't care if I miss, it's dinner.
Well, I don't seem to be very hungry either.
You're not?
Of course, I ate an awful lot of popcorn.
And gumdrops.
That never interfered with my appetite before. Say, would you like to go to a dance?
I mean, I could probably fit it in depending on when the dance is.
Tonight, a bunch of the seniors.
It just happens tonight I'm free.
Swell. I'll change and be back for you in a half an hour. I'm glad your dad isn't old-fashioned about letting you stay out on school nights.
School night. Wait, Larry. There's someone I have to check with first.
Some other boy?
Well, he's male.
I didn't think you were the kind of girl. The girl that stalls a fellow. Well, she sees if she can go get a better date.
I'm not. It's not like that at all. Really, Larry, I'd love to go with you, but I have to get through a short examination first. No one will tell you.
Honestly?
But I'd rather go to the dance with you than with anyone.
That's different.
So you're at it again. The minute my back is
You don't have to sneak up on people. You might cough or something.
You try coughing with a mouth full of peanut butter. I would felt bad we're back.
Bill, Mother said not to worry Dad with unimportant worries.
Who said I was going to worry him?
I hope he doesn't get your father mad.
Well, you better not.
I've heard a lot of things about your father.
Lots of people hear about Dad and his work.
It wasn't exactly about his work.
The way he eliminates waste motions and things like that. What'd you hear?
To tell you the truth, I was almost too afraid to come here.
No.
And I didn't know whether to ask you out on a date or not.
You haven't been listening to that little cheerleader that just scales?
How'd you know?
Really, the things that boy says about my father, why he'd say anything.
He would?
You think my father's some sort of monster, when really he's friendly and agreeable and witty and has one of the sweetest tempers and...
She's back.
And those stories just absurd.
What took her so long?
He must be calling somebody at the back of the house. When Dad calls somebody at the back of the house, you can hear him in the front of the house.
I guess you can.
No reason why you shouldn't come here.
You mean that boy's down there right now?
Shush, Frank.
I won't shush.
I guess I'd better be getting along.
I suppose you had.
Guess I'd better.
Wait, Larry. About the dance. I don't suppose. I mean,
Yes?
what I mean is, will you be coming back?
Bye, Jingo!
asked you to the dance, didn't I? Be seeing you.
Look at
I told you if I started dressing like other girls, everything would be all right and I'd be popular.
popular, missing dinner, dodging tests. By Jingo, you started painting yourself.
I haven't.
I can see the paint. Perfume! You started using perfume.
Frank, she hasn't even had her dinner yet.
It's her fault. Perfume.
Just one, Dad. Why not? It's not painting or makeup and it smells so good.
Why not? Because it stinks up perfectly good air. That's why not. You're gonna go wash it off.
Dad.
Do you know what a man thinks when he smells perfume on a woman?
I only know what one man thinks, and he thinks I should wash it off.
Thinks nothing. And you'll go in there and take that examination.
She's going to eat something first.
Me?
I don't want to eat. I want to get the exam over with first. I have something to do later.
Probably something to do with that boy.
And why do I need a brother tagging along every time I want to go to the movie with somebody? It's intolerable, really. I don't know why any boy bothers with me.
Well, I know. Even if you don't. And that's why a brother always goes along.
First thing I want to do is dance. A really important dance that just happens to, for instance, fall on a school night.
We talk about that when the time comes.
Mother, Dad,
That's enough nonsense now. Not all this time, painting, perfume.
It's terrible.
Report to the dining room. Go to his bro.
And
Now, Frank.
fine then. You handle it. Thank heaven. Thank heavens my other daughters are a little more sensible. Not quite so... Not quite so silly.
It's Motorcycle Mac! Yeah, maybe this time will stop.
Oh!
There he goes.
Hi, Ann.
Where were you?
Mother, I did put on one dab of perfume, but I didn't put on any makeup at all. Not any. See?
I'll explain to your father later.
It's just color.
Your color's very nice tonight.
There's a reason. I'd like to get going on that exam.
Who'd you go with?
That fullback.
Larry. Mother, I had a wonderful afternoon.
You shouldn't have stayed so long. We were all worried. Especially your father.
Why does Dad care so much? I mean, what if I do waste one afternoon?
He wants everything ship-shape and organized before he goes to Europe. Besides, there's his test.
Why do they have to send that Miss Brill?
I'm sure she's a fine teacher, dear. I'll let her know you're here.
What's up? What's going on?
Larry asked me to dance. He's coming right back for me.
Are you crazy? It's a school night. What do you tell Dad?
I don't know. I'd rather get the exam out of the way first. Is it tough?
Same old IQ stuff. It's a snap.
Especially for Miss IQ of Montclair High.
I wish I could be Miss something else.
You're stuck with it.
For once, your IQ is going to be put to some good use. I can't wait to see Miss Brill's face when she grades her paper.
I have a feeling she's dying to bear down with that red pencil.
And even I didn't have that much trouble with the written part.
And the word association test? There's nothing to it.
She just shoots 5 words at you.
Swell. I'm in an awful rush.
Of course. If we told you the 5 words, you could really pour it on her.
Well, don't.
Golly, her mouth would just drop wide open.
I'd better get in there.
You know, if every time she puffed a word at you, and you puffed back a whole lot of answers, a whole string of associated words.
Of course. It would be wrong to tell Anne the words on the test.
You're right. It would.
It wouldn't be right to tell her that the first word is knife,
Don't.
or that the second word is black,
Please.
foot, hair, bird.
You shouldn't have told me.
No, you certainly shouldn't have told Anne that the 5 words are knife, black, foot, hair, bird. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, gee. You're right, Anne, I'm sorry. Please, try to put it out of your head that the 5 words are knife, flat foot, hair, bird.
Forget that. After the way you've been drumming them in, good night. I'm already thinking of the answers. Why did you have to do a thing like that?
Aren't you ever going to get down to business?
Right now.
Till the motorcycle passes. I thought your mother told you to see to the babies.
We were seeing to them.
Till a motorcycle passes the house.
I think motorcycles are wonderful. You can make a lot of noise with a motorcycle.
Cheese on the floor.
Anne's just breezing through the test.
About time she did some breezing.
I think she's a crush on one of the boys at school.
Boss, here are the assignments I've worked out. Assignments of duties, records of results. I want to get the whole thing running before I leave.
I wish you wouldn't go. Dr. Burton says,
Dr. Burton, we better find some way to knock a little sense to our eldest daughters.
they're perfectly normal. At least, they want to be.
They want to be wasting a lot of time. Time's too precious.
Is it really so important for you to go to this management conference?
A conference like this gives me a chance to explain motion study to the whole world. The world can stand a little efficiency. Besides, it's awfully good for business. It costs a lot to run a family like this.
Do you remember when we first talked about the family we'd have? Our wedding day. You said we'd have a wonderful life and a wonderful family. A great big family.
I warned you, children from the basement to the attic, from the floorboards to the chandeliers.
When we went for our Sunday walk, we looked like Mr. and Mrs. Pied Piper.
Mrs. Piper, shake hands with Mr. Piper. Mrs. Piper, meet Mr. Piper.
And when I asked you how many children you have, just as an estimate, you said, just as an estimate, many.
And that day on the train, you tried to appear so blasé, as if we'd been married for years.
And when I took off my hat, and you whispered, "Good grief, woman, why'd you tell me your hair was that color?" Everyone turned to leer and wink.
I shouldn't have done that. It was just that I was so proud of you, and I wanted everyone to know that you were my wife. The committees are working out fine. The family's getting so it runs itself.
You've got almost everything, Mr. Piper.
Thank you, Mrs. Piper. I told you Anne would be back in time.
I don't think she's taking the test seriously. She's just marking the answers on the page as fast as she can go.
She said something about being in a hurry.
Perhaps she has something more important.
What is it?
You're not supposed to leave the table until you're finished.
I am finished.
That's impossible.
It's finished.
You answered all the questions, the best you could?
Honestly, Dad, it was a snap.
A snap! We'll see just how much of a snap it is.
You bet we'll see.
We'll see just how much of a... Dear me.
What is it?
Nothing.
You haven't found any wrong answers?
Not yet.
Keep marking.
I will.
My goodness.
Yes?
Not yet.
Just keep marking.
I can't properly mark a paper under conditions like these.
Yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, by jingle, good girl, Anne! We'll tell the whole family about this. Get my whistle out of my pocket.
Why is she so I'm already done with my test.
What's going on?
I wish to make an announcement about your eldest sister.
Dad, she hasn't even finished marking my paper yet.
So far as we know, Anne has just completed a perfect examination.
But Mr. Gilbreth,
So far as we know, yet.
We knew you could do it.
And it seems to me as if she's on track to graduate by the end of this semester.
what's this about graduating?
Mr. Gilbreth, you were instructed not to mention that.
But you already have her examination.
What is this?
She hasn't had a word association test.
Well, give it to her.
Here, now,
Yes. Here and now.
all right, but this is very irregular.
Are you ready now?
Oh, yes, she's very ready.
Yes, so you know how it's done. Try to answer with the word you associate. The first word, knife.
Stab, wound, bleed, slit, throat, murder, disembowel, scream, shriek.
My goodness, you must have an IQ higher than Nicholas Murray Butler.
I read a lot.
Next, black.
Velvet night pitch char ebony.
Next, foot.
Kick, shoe, walk, run, stocking, dance.
Next, hair.
Ribbon, hat, pigtail, shampoo, louse.
Next,
Egg, song, nest, fly, worm, perch.
but I didn't say the word. I just said next.
That's true.
Let me see. The next word was bird. You said egg, song, next. So that's it. You knew the next word was bird, didn't you?
How could she know?
You did know, didn't you? And you knew the IQ examination too, didn't you?
No, it was just those words. It was just a joke. Sort of.
And
How could you?
I see through the whole thing. You're all nasty little cheats.
I told her the words.
And me.
Yes, you all cheated.
No,
I'm the
no,
only
man.
one. You're the only one that got caught. I see now the way you all get ahead so fast in school. I'll certainly report the whole thing to the superintendent.
But I didn't know the test meant anything.
This ends that graduation talk. And I recommend that some of this grade skipping you've done be thoroughly reviewed.
Just mine, no one else's.
A lot of you.
That's so unfair.
Gosh, Dad, I couldn't help it.
What do you mean you couldn't help it?
How can everything go so wrong? I had such a wonderful afternoon with Larry. Allie even asked me to a dance, and then this had to happen.
None of this started happening till you got boys up the mountain.
She's growing up. Other things are important too.
Popular, missing dinner, dodging tests. I can't have the whole program ruined by some boy. This is the end of that nonsense.
You don't realize, Dad, when you're the youngest in your class and you feel like you have to stay right up in the top bracket, sometimes you lose out on other things, well, like leadership and sociability, going to a dance with a boy you like.
Hi, Ern. Is Anne ready?
Hello, Larry, I guess I can't make it.
The other date came through?
No,
It's totally fine. After all, it's up to you. Well,
I don't see why there's only times for studies and systems and organizing things and getting more efficient.
I don't see why. Never mind.
I guess we just don't understand each other then. I'll go give a hand in the kitchen.
And
It's the only thing I could do, really.
Sure. You're right, Dad. We better finish up with the dishes.
We'd better get back to the babies.
Dad, she'll be all right.
I was painting the fence. It's still not too dark.
I'll stir the paint.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't have the whole program ruined by some boy. It was a question of the whole system. Of course, Dad.
well, I better go locate that dumb dog.
That's the thing. Time is just too precious.
Well, they're all gone. Come out of the living room, everything's so quiet and peaceful.
It certainly is. I hate it.
Is that song just in my mind, or do you hear it too?
I hear it too.
I don't know why. It makes me think of the afternoon Dad left for Europe.
The last time we were all together. Do you remember what Mother said? She was right.
When you're all together, it's the happiest time in the world.
She said it like she meant us to remember.
It never occurred to us Dad had any intention of dying till he was good and ready.
I think it occurred to Anne. I think something happened that afternoon. Something that made us suspect.
The way I remember, Anne spent the afternoon taking a review exam for the school board. She was so late getting home, Dad worried he might not even get to see her.
She was late because she was waiting for the examiner to grade her paper. She wanted something to tell Dad before he left.
A misunderstanding with Dad. Anne really took it to heart. She felt so awful.
I think Dad felt even worse.
You could tell. When we put on that show for him, to give him his big send-off, he laughed and acted as though he thought it was wonderful. But you could tell.
He kept watching Fran.
It was his favorite show, too. Our imitation of him and Mother.
I still know it by heart.
You always took the role of Dad. I was Mother.
Remember? Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest this afternoon is Dr. Lillian Muller-Gilbreth.
Hello, Charlotte. I'm so glad you could make it. Great. I like your new hat. Why, Jeannie, you've bobbed your hair. Now, I'm not going to make a speech, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Tell us, Mrs. Gilbreth, did you really want so many kids? And if so, why?
Any other questions?
Who really wears the pants in the household?
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Gilbreth, for your enlightening answers.
Our next speaker is Frank Bunker Gilbreth. Now, please keep your seats. Don't be afraid. He promised to limit himself to only 2 hours and to not mention the one best way to do work more than twice in the same sentence.
For the purpose of convenience, I've divided my talk into 30 main headings and 117 subheadings. I will now commence with the first main heading.
Mr. Gilbreth, the superintendent at the factory here needs your advice at once.
We'll be right over. Dear me, 3 seconds. Are you all reasonably sanitary? Is everybody dry? All right then, follow me.
Mr. Gilbreth, I'm the superintendent of this factory.
You call this a factory?
Christmas, look what followed you in. Is it a picnic or are these your children?
They're my children, and it's no picnic.
Look at this one. Children come cheaper by the dozen.
Think I should keep them all?
I think you should keep them all home.
Jackie, get your fingers out of your mouth and explain to the superintendent what's inefficient about the drill press.
That thing a drill press? No.
Precisely. Lillian, explain in simple language.
The hand lever is such that there is waste motion after transport loaded and transport empty, and the work plane is at a fatiguing level.
Mr. Gilbreth, tell your children to stop climbing all over my machinery.
They'll be fine. They're all trained engineers. I trained them myself.
Look at that boy over there squatting over a buzzsaw. Oh, I can't watch. Don't let him squat any lower.
The little rascal thinks it's a bicycle. He'll be fine. Children learn by doing.
Uh-oh.
That's gotta hurt.
I lose more children in factories. Now the rest of you, stay away from that buzzsaw. You hear me?
Somebody make note of that. So we'll know how many places it's set for supper. Good day, sir.
It's your turn now.
Do you want to hear one that minstrel shows?
No, let's wait till Anne gets home.
Well, what if she doesn't get home in time?
She will. Well, what if she's having trouble with the exam?
Miss Brill probably saw to that.
Nonsense. And if Anne is struggling, it's because they don't know how to put together a proper test. Some teachers just don't know their business.
Are you going to do any minstrel press? Your father has all sorts of last-minute things to attend to.
Please, just do a little, Dad.
There's too much on my mind, really.
Well, we won't be seeing you for a long time.
And you always do that part.
I just don't feel much like Anne.
Hello, Dad. I didn't mean to be late.
Well, how'd you do?
They haven't finished marking my paper yet. I tried to explain I was in a hurry.
I know you did fine, but it was beginning to get late. I was starting to worry.
Dad, it was a hard exam. I don't know how I did. I tried my best, though, my really best.
Of course you did. I was just afraid you wouldn't be back in time. Mr. Bones! I say Mr. Bones! Does you know how to get the water in the watermelon? No! How does you get the water in the watermelon? Why, you plant them in the spring! Does you know Isabel? Isabel? Why, shoot! Isabel necessary on a what?
Yes. I set out a snack for you. No decent food on train. Do you guys give me cookies for the rest of you?
Ice cream cookies!
I don't know about this, boss. I mean, I have kids. When it comes to ice cream, you're right on the job. But when it comes to projects, you're slow as molasses.
Hey, Dad, please!
I don't know. What do you say, boss?
Did you say molasses, Mr. Bones? Why, I had no molasses. Come along, children.
I'm glad you finished up and got home.
I would have been home on time anyway. I mean, I wouldn't let anything.
I bet you made them feel foolish for insisting on a review examination.
I don't know.
Of course you did. All you had to do was get the foolishness out of your mind so you could do your best.
I did my best, but I haven't got the foolishness out of my mind.
And
Aw, Dad, she's been studying herself sick.
I can't help it.
I can't understand why you haven't more sense.
Dad,
I'm glad I'm not the oldest. By the time he gets to us, things will be taken for granted.
I don't see why Dad cares so much.
Sometimes it seems like he's the strictest father in town.
Were there any calls or anything?
Larry,
Did he say anything? Did you say anything?
a little. I helped your cause.
How?
Well, I didn't just let him think he could just spend studying for an exam. That's so drab. I gave him something colorful to think about.
What?
All your other dates.
No, what?
I'm not so dumb.
Anytime motorcycle Mac calls, just keep your brilliance to yourself.
What's the matter?
Now he'll think, gosh, Mark.
I can't help it if neither of you understand men.
Don't understand men. Watch how I handle Mac.
He won't even slow down.
He better.
What do you mean?
You know where he swings in with his motorcycle? This is the last time he swings. You gave me an idea.
What idea?
Nails and broken glass.
I was joking. We'd better warn him.
I think he missed.
Got him!
Oh
It's Larry. What's Larry doing on Mac's motorcycle?
no. Poor guy.
Whose idea was that?
Well, the idea was Ann's.
Not enough to give me the runaround? Now you're trying to kill me?
Kill you? You got it all wrong.
Really?
People get put in jail for things like this.
You're not gonna put me in jail.
Well, no.
And if you want to.
Why would I want you in jail? Even if you were running around with college boys while I thought you were studying. Even if you have accepted 3 fraternity pins at the same time.
If you'll excuse me, I think my ice cream is, getting, cold.
I still can't believe you put nails in the drive.
I didn't. I may have suggested it once as a joke, but
My ice cream is probably getting melting too.
I thought you were so different.
I am different.
I used to think so. I used to think you were sincere and knew about a lot of things. I borrowed that motorcycle. I better go see how much damage was done.
Can I help?
You've done enough.
Aren't you going to eat any ice cream, dear? I don't have much appetite.
Are you worried about the test?
The test and everything.
That boy? Anything else?
Dad,
You were worried about your father?
we used to understand each other so much. Now it seems like we don't understand each other at all.
There might be a reason.
What, Mother?
Maybe he just wants as many of his dozen to get through school as possible. You especially. You're the oldest.
We'll all get through school. Why the hurry?
After all, Dad's along in his 50s.
Dad's young.
Well, people get things wrong with him. Things like heart trouble.
Is that why Dr. Burton's always coming over?
It's nothing for you to get excited about.
Mother, does Dad have heart trouble?
Well, you see,
Does he?
you're just so eager to grow up.
Mother!
Of course he wants everybody getting through school as fast as possible. Of course he wants everything shipshape and efficient.
Oh, Mother.
Now, you're thinking it's much worse than it is.
If I know.
It isn't that bad.
Boss, I forgot to put up the cross-section graphs.
I'll put it up later.
What is it, Dad?
1,000 lines long and 1,000 lines wide. That makes exactly 1 million little squares.
A million.
An awful lot of people talk about big numbers these days, but not an awful lot of people talk about 1 million. You're gonna see it every day.
You have $1 million now?
No. I have 1 million children instead. Somewhere along the line, a man has to choose between the two.
I can put these up later, Dad. I'll explain what it means.
Later this afternoon. Don't you like ice cream anymore?
Me?
Mrs. Piper, come up with me while I say goodbye to the babies.
Which ones are you going to get for them, Mr. Piper? Slide rulers?
Why, Mrs. Piper? Probably.
Just the tire and a bent mudguard. It could be much worse.
What?
The motorcycle.
Oh,
They cost money, you know.
maybe Ern and I could pay for the damage, gradually.
It was pretty old and beat up anyway.
But whatever the cost.
And
Yes?
how come you spend all your time with college boys? We were supposed to be studying. I didn't think you were that kind of girl.
I'm not.
You don't have to pretend with me.
I'm not pretending. I wouldn't pretend with you. I don't think people should pretend with people.
I don't either.
So you're at it again. Shocking.
He certainly has a wonderful sense of timing.
Yeah. Larry, Dad's leaving and all. I should probably see if I can help things.
Sure, I'll get along. You don't really have 3 fraternity pins. I mean, I wouldn't think your dad...
Of course not. I wouldn't have time for anything like that.
What do you mean?
Sometimes people have to push ahead with important things. Sometimes there's reasons.
Going to a dance with me? Wouldn't that be important?
You wouldn't understand. I didn't understand myself.
What?
Reasons. There's so much to do. I won't have much time.
Not even for the senior prom?
You mean you're asking? Gosh, Larry, but it wouldn't be right. With Dad away, things have to be pushed along.
Don't you answer the doorbell anymore?
I didn't hear it.
You weren't listening.
Hello, Mr. Gilbreth.
I thought you wanted to go to a dance.
I do, but
Sounds like I have an eldest daughter, just about grown up. I wonder. Good heavens. Good afternoon.
Who is it? Oh.
Won't you sit down?
I understand you're leaving, so I'll be brief.
did you mark my paper?
The superintendent marked it himself.
Yes?
It wasn't my idea to come here. About what? The examination?
Please, did I pass?
Seems to me you should shoot it again.
Miss Brill,
You know I didn't. You watched me every minute.
I don't claim to know how.
get to the point. I'm in a hurry.
That's why I was sent right over. So, she may fool other people, but she doesn't fool me.
What was my mark?
Get into it?
Did she pass?
Yes.
Was it a good paper?
Yes.
Was there anything wrong with her paper?
No.
Oh, darn.
So there's no question about when she graduates?
That's what I was told to tell you. I was told to say she's to graduate at the end of this semester.
By jingo, I knew it!
Hey, that's swell.
Now, if you'll excuse me.
Thank you, Miss Brill.
What's 19 times 26?
Really?
19 times 26?
I'm not taking a test. Good day.
It's 684! That was
I'm so proud of you, darling.
I was worried.
Nonsense. Your sister did wonderfully.
Snake hips. Knew she would.
Insisted she take the exam. Forced it on her.
I didn't really cheat that first time, Dad.
I know you didn't. Martin Erner explained it to me. I haven't felt so good in years.
And I have to get on home.
I'm glad you came.
About the prom?
What I was trying to say before I was interrupted by Miss Brill. Seems to me as if you're beginning to grow up.
She is. More than you think.
And when a young girl grows up, it doesn't hurt to go to a few dances.
You mean it's all right? I won't let anything interfere with my studies or anything, Dad, honestly.
Easy now. I believe you.
I hope you have a nice trip, and don't worry about Anne going to the prom or anything.
You bet I won't. I'm sending Bill right along with you.
No.
Sure thing. It's really something, the way you've taught them.
Would you like to learn how to multiply two-digit numbers in your head? Never mind, Jackie.
Goodbye, Anne. Be seeing you.
It's getting late. I had Frank put your bags in the car.
Good. Bye, Jingo. Nine seconds. That's very good. I have to get going.
Dad.
Don't go.
Hush, Jackie.
No last minute nonsense now. You all know your jobs and responsibilities. My last official act is to nominate your mother as chairman of the family council. All those in favor?
Aye.
Your mother is now the new chairman.
Do you have to go?
We're right
Father has to hurry.
Dad, before you go, there's just one thing I don't understand.
Just one.
I know why you want us to get ahead, but everything you do all the time to save time for everybody. The thing I don't understand is, what do you want to save time for?
For work, if you love that best. For beauty, or art, or education. For mumbledy-peg, if that's where your heart lies. It's for where your heart lies. That's what you save time for.
Right now, it's the happiest time in the world.
Okay, that's enough nonsense now. Okay, get out of here. Well, you all know your jobs and responsibilities. Bye, Jingo. Behave yourselves.
Fred, is your mother a chair? All of you, arrange yourselves for a family meeting. Mother? Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Mother? Like all families, we have to get to the business before us. I know what to call this family council. To order.
Just